Hi family, welcome back. I have long awaited this video and I'm so excited to make this video. And to be honest, like 3 months ago when I began talking about how I needed to focus on curing my adrenal fatigue and I needed to come off of my diet, I wasn't really sure if I was gonna end up making this video. But I knew I had found something that was gonna be different and that would find different results. And so here we are. It's been about 3 months since I started focusing on, I won't even say focusing because I've been focused for a really long time, for like 10 years on trying to cure this. But since I made this abrupt shift in my diet, in new herb supplements that I have a totally new team here in Florida versus the people who were helping me out or specializing in Hawaii. And I am now at a place where the last month I've been able to incorporate more fruits back into my diet, as well as start and begin martial arts every single week. We're in there a handful of times a week. I've begun teaching my own classes even in restorative mobility that's yoga based at the martial arts gym. I'm also still doing yoga teacher training, as well as doing 1 to 2 classes of those a week on top of all of my fitness and yoga work that I have to do. So those of you guys who are new or is like not remembering what's going on, this is so different than what it was for the last 10 years of my life. Normally I have to work for a day and take 3 days off, and then work for a day and then take another 3 days off. So I'm working 2 days a week because I have so much activity incorporated as a commercial fitness and yoga instructor. That's kind of part of my job. You know, there's a lot of energy that goes into that, as well as homeschooling the kids and just trying to function like a normal person. And so I didn't have any time or energy to exercise. I very rarely got to do yoga, maybe once a week on my own if I could, but it left me with very little energy to deal with going out and having fun and like going to the beach and having a beach day and surfing and all that stuff was very, very difficult for me to do, and it was very exhausting. To top it off, any kind of stress, even as simple as trying out cryotherapy or having to deal with Hurricane Irma, used to be very, very stressful. Moving, it used to take a lot, and stressful in the sense like, not that I'm completely stressed out losing my mind, but that I would just feel tanked, energy depleted, on top of a compound of insomnia, big food cravings and mood swings. It was just crazy and terrible for a really long time. Now, before I get into telling you what I've done over the last 3 months and how that's shaped where I'm at today, I want to discuss with those of you just a little recap on how this all started. Many people believe, or you can read on many blogs, that adrenal fatigue is a faux diagnosis and it's something that has to do with the mind or like not being able to manage stress. And while that might be the case, what I understand of adrenal fatigue as I was diagnosed by 2 different specialists last year is that in my own body, my body has not been able to produce cortisol. And cortisol is important not only for stress and for energy and the balance of your own hormones on a regular basis, but it's actually got a very intimate relationship with insulin to help regulate the blood sugars. Insulin brings the blood sugars down, cortisol brings low blood sugars up, and it also helps carry nutrients into the cells so that when you're digesting it. So obviously cortisol is very, very important. And for me, my adrenal fatigue started on a very singular event. This event was taking too many hormones, excess hormones, in the form of birth control, performance steroids, weight loss pills, coupled with magnitudes of caffeine on a daily basis, when one day I almost felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. And that is when my adrenals were totally compromised. Things went unnoticed for a year. After that almost heart attack scenario, I fell asleep for about 48 hours. I had no idea what was going on. I just thought I was coming off the caffeine. And then a year later, when my periods began started again because I didn't have those periods, I felt immense waves of emotional, physical exhaustion, things that I had never felt before. And since then, I've been struggling with adrenal fatigue. I've gone into to many different cycles of thinking I needed to cleanse my body, get colonics, cleanse the candida, get better sleep, get more exercise. I forced more exercise on myself. I began to research and become more of a specialist in fitness, diet, lifestyle, exercise, stress relief, personal development. All these things stemmed from thinking that the issues that I was going through in energy and insomnia and in my moods, especially during the times of my monthly cycle, was all in my head. Eventually, a year ago, I thought I would test it out and say, well, maybe it's something in my body. Like maybe it's not, because I think I'm not that crazy. I think we're all a little crazy, but I just don't think that, everything I'm doing doesn't seem to be making all this difference. So that has led to here. And it reminds me of something that Tony Robbins had said at one point, where anything that you do, your success in it is 80% in your head, but 20% is mechanics, and you have to get the mechanics down. So at one point I decided that maybe I was missing something in the mechanics. 3 months ago, I had this video. It was really, really tough for me to announce, and even in my own mind to think that my diet had anything to do with holding me back from curing my adrenal fatigue, or whatever you want to call this. I do want to clarify very, very strongly and importantly that I believe my diet kept me from making it worse. I know many people with adrenal fatigue who supplement with more caffeine because they're tired. They have alcohol at night, caffeine during the day. They eat lots of fast food, lots of refined sugars, all these things because it does feel better. It soothes the condition or that sort of experience when you're going through adrenal fatigue. But because I've been so adamant about eating well and eating very clean, I really think it helped my body stay strong and to kind of stay where it's at. But it's not like it was getting better, but not getting worse, if that makes sense. And at the same time, because the diet wasn't complete with whatever my body needs, it didn't allow me to recover completely. So 3 months ago, everything changed. We moved here. I got a new group of specialists, an endocrinologist, a hormone therapist, and even an Eastern Chinese herbalist, and talked about different things, kind of caught them up, ran more tests. And on top of it, just sort of had this aha moment when we were talking about, it was a Chinese herbalist who talked about my diet, really, like, what are you eating? We need to identify those things. And being an O positive blood type, it's technically supposed to be a heavy meat eater, or at least, I look at those things as a starting point, not necessarily something to live and die by, but to say, okay, this is like the general trend of blood types, or the general trend of your dosha, or however you want to approach it, but to just take it into consideration. And I realized it wasn't something that I had really taken into consideration, not because I was being stubborn, not because I was wanting this one thing to work or to fix it so bad, but really just because I didn't think about it. I just had no idea that the way that I was eating could potentially not be the healthiest way, and more importantly, especially going against what I know, the food industry, and how a lot of that food has been completely bastardized and not necessarily clean. It was a tough pill for me to swallow. But at the same time, in my desperation and going through a week of insomnia, I decided, you got to try something different, right? They say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting the same results. So here I am 10 years later, having a week of insomnia, and in my desperation, I said, okay, I'm going to try the chicken. Ate the chicken, fell asleep within an hour, no insomnia that night. Problem fixed, problem solved. It was just this crazy thing that went on. And I did that for a week and had this magnificent difference, and not on purpose, but after that week went by, I just sort of forgot to incorporate meat in my day because I'm just not used to it, So I just kind of went back to my regular diet, and it's not like my diet changed much other than I just added some meat, and all of a sudden I woke up with insomnia. And I was like, what's going on? And I woke up and I ate avocados and I did hummus salad and I did what I normally would do. I could not sleep till 4 a.m. And I thought, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Let's try the meat. So I still had chicken in my fridge, put a little chicken on the stove, ate that, went to sleep right away again. And I could not believe what was going on. And this is when I started to dig into more research, and this is when I understood the dynamics of the blood sugar complex with cortisol. Why it works without the meat or doesn't work without the meat, I have no idea. And unless I put myself in that state, put myself out of that state, like we could probably figure this out. It does cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars for that test. And at the moment, I'm just really happy that it's getting solved. So what I did after that was continue the DRESS, dress lifestyle. It's something that I've always been doing. If you haven't seen it, I'll stick it up here so that you can see sort of the natural holistic approach to the lifestyle that's going to help support adrenal fatigue recovery, or just in general, like good health. On top of it, I had my endocrinologist confirm the blood sugar levels. I got new herbs, or at least it was the same type of herbs like the ashwagandha and stuff, but a new mix that did better with my body from my hormone therapist. And I told her I don't want to do this with hormone therapy. I just want to, and she believed that my body's still strong. So we went through with this. And the other two things that I changed in my diet was making sure that I stayed on a low glycemic diet and ate every 2 hours. Now, I will note for those of you guys that might ask, I have tried this without the meat and those two changes, low glycemic every 2 hours. Every time I pull the meat out of my diet, the insomnia comes back. I don't know what it is. If you guys know any more, I would love to know if you have any thoughts about why it works, but it doesn't take much meat and it doesn't change the plant-based diet, meaning that the majority of what I eat is still focused and geared on plants. So none of that's really changed. Obviously, for the last couple months, I haven't been able to eat that much fruit. And this is the first month that I've really been able to incorporate it. Oh my gosh, and it's just amazing because I've been missing that fruit. But my body just sort of told me, it just said, I want fruit. And at one point we just had this Asian pear in the fridge and I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat this and see how it feels. And slowly it just got better. And the day that I realized that things had changed was 2 months into this process, when I had done 16 hours of yoga in 2 days. And then I attended a women's self-defense seminar for 4 hours where my adrenaline was pumping and I'm getting strangled and all different kinds of crazy things, and it's happening late at night. And I was able to sail through that and have a normal week. And that was just, for me, the monumental moment where I was like, this is working. I'm healing. And now a month later from that point, I've been able to teach 3 to 4 classes of my own a day, plus participate in about 3 classes of martial arts a week, plus 1 to 2 extra yoga classes that are very vigorous in asana, meaning very like heart pumping, sweating, you know, using a lot of, which normally I gravitate towards the relaxing meditative yoga classes. Now I'm getting into places where I'm working on inversions, working on tons of chaturangas, like all these muscle building. Like right now I am so sore everywhere, my shoulders and back, because I've been doing all this plus my work. And it's just been this unbelievable recovery. And the most unbelievable thing is that this is a lifetime of abuse. It's like because even before the adrenal fatigue, it's not like I was eating healthy. I was not health conscious whatsoever. And in a sense, like, it's been such a blessing. It's been a really hard 10 years, but it's been such a blessing because had I not gone through so much struggle, I don't think I would have searched and dug so deep and poured into information and tried so many things, and now find myself at this point where like things are just balanced instantaneously. 3 months. 3 months of a life. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. And it's not to toot my own horn. It has nothing to do with me other than just like how incredible our bodies are, and how incredible when everything is balanced in one area, everything else becomes more balanced. So all of a sudden, like, we just seem happier. Me and my husband seem to have a happier relationship. We're more connected with the community. Everything just seems more balanced. There's more energy for things. So the house is cleaner, things are getting done in time. We're able to take more onto our plate socially and together. And it's just, I just don't even have words to explain it. But I share this with you, to just recap on that story, because it was an open-ended story. I know a lot of you guys have talked about struggling with adrenal fatigue, and this is not necessarily a video that says, hey, this is the solution. I don't know, because every body is different and every whatever is affecting it is different, even though a lot of it looks the same. The only thing that I can say is stay open-minded, don't give up hope, and just take it as like the refinement, I guess. It's a refinement process. If you are struggling with adrenal fatigue, or you think you may, I would suggest getting the hormonal panel. And that will give you a really broad perspective and overview of what your body is doing hormonally, and what's missing, what's not, and how you can approach that. And if you do feel like you are completely exhausted, or if you do find that you're not making cortisol, remember that if your body's not regulating the blood sugar, you need to have a diet that supports blood sugar regulation. So that's all I have to say for now. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and hearing the story. I tried to shorten this and it still became long, but at least it's just us talking and having a conversation, and I appreciate those so much. And I'm just so excited. Like, I just wish you guys could come to my classes with me and just enjoy all this, because it's so nice to feel like we're living life again. And this is only the beginning. I know that it's not completely healed. I'm sure if I were to stay up all night and eat a ton of candy and then like try to go for a 5-mile run, I could obviously crash the whole system down again. But it is an incredible improvement in just 3 short months, and I'm just absolutely astounded. And I thank all of you guys that have supported my journey and continue to just pour love and encouragement during that hard time, that hard transition. It just means so much to me. Now I'm gonna get emotional and I can't cry because I am working today and I already have makeup on. But I just want to thank you guys so much for being a part of all this. And yeah, it's so exciting. I hope that that we have more coming towards us, and I definitely have more to share. So stick around, and thank you so much for sharing this journey and this conversation with me. I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.